My name is Kera Korodudu. This is our special weekly bulletin where we talk about the stories shaping our world and give you insights to make sense of the global political landscape and help you to understand what is happening around the world. These are our top stories for this week. Palestinians say Israeli strike hits UN-run school. Blinken to meet Arab leaders. President ECP agree on holding elections on February the 8th, 2024. China eyeing new heights at Paris Olympics through winter training. Pakistan defeat New Zealand by 21 runs in rain-hit World Cup clash. And now stories. Palestinians say Israeli strike hits UN-run school. Blinken to meet Arab leaders. Palestinians reported a deadly Israeli strike on a UN-run school in northern Gaza, serving as a shelter on Saturday ahead of a meeting in Jordan at which US Secretary of State Antony Blinken will hear Arab demands for a ceasefire in the enclave. Witnesses said the strike hit Al Fakora school in Jabalia, where thousands of evacuees were living. At least 15 people died and dozens more were wounded, said Mohammed Abu Selmiya, an official in the health ministry in the Hamas-run enclave. Reuters pictures of the aftermath showed broken furniture and other belongings lying on the ground, patches of blood spilled on the ground and over food, and people crying. I was standing here when 3 bombings happened. I carried a body and another decapitated body with my own hands, a young boy said in a video obtained by Reuters, crying in despair, God will take my vengeance. Nearby, a resident comforted a woman in shock. One man asked angrily, since when has it become normal to strike shelters? This is so unfair. Juliet Tomra, Director of Communication for the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency, UNRWA, confirmed to Reuters that the UN-run school, which is in the Gaza City area, had been hit. She said there were children among the casualties, but that UNRWA had not yet been able to verify the exact death toll. At least one strike hit the schoolyard where there were tents for displaced families. Another strike hit inside the school where women were baking bread, Tumar said by phone. The Ministry of Health in Gaza said another Israeli missile strike killed 2 women at the door of the Nasser Children's Hospital. Several more people were injured, it said. The Israeli military had no immediate comment on either incident. Israel's ground forces encircled Gaza City on Thursday after stepping up a bombing campaign, it says, aimed at wiping out Hamas after the militant group killed 1,400 people and took more than 240 hostage in an October 7th assault in southern Israel. Gaza officials said on Saturday that more than 9,488 Palestinians have been killed so far in the Israeli assault. Israel last month ordered all civilians to leave the northern part of the Gaza City Strip, including Gaza City, where it says Hamas militants are hiding in tunnels and head to the south of the enclave. It has continued to bomb the whole enclave, saying the militants are hiding among civilians, and many people have stayed in the north, where they say they now feel trapped. The military said it would enable Palestinians to travel on a main Gaza Strip highway, the Salah ad-Din Road, on Saturday between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., 11 o'clock GMT and 1400. If you care about yourself and your loved ones, heed our instruction to head south, it said in a social media post in Arabic. US Special Envoy David Satterfield said in Amman that between 800,000 to 1 million people have already moved to the south of the Gaza Strip, while 350,000 to 400,000 remain in northern Gaza City and its environs. Blinken hears ceasefire demands. In what appeared to presage a widening of Israel's ground offensive, the military issued footage showing armored bulldozers churning up northern Gaza areas, what it described as creating access routes for forces. A combined tank and combat engineering unit carried out a pinpoint raid in the southern Gaza Strip to map out buildings and neutralize explosives, it said. Israel's military also said it was striking what it described as a number of Hezbollah terror targets in Lebanon following fire from there, part of the biggest flare-up since 2006. A Lebanese source familiar with Hezbollah's attacks said the group had fired a powerful missile not yet used in the fighting and that it had hit an Israeli position across the border from the villages of Ayata, Al-Shab and Ramech. Lebanon's powerful Hezbollah group is backed by Iran, as is Hamas. Hezbollah leader Sayed Hassan Nasrallah on Friday warned that conflict could spread if Israel continued bombing Gaza. Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati emphasized the urgency of a ceasefire in Gaza when he met Blinken in Amman on Saturday. Lebanon state news agency said. Blinken in turn emphasized his efforts to halt military operations for humanitarian reasons and to address the issue of prisoners. Blinken is also due to meet the Saudi, Qatari, Emirati and Egyptian foreign ministers on Saturday, as well as Palestinian representatives in Amman. The Jordanian Foreign Ministry said. The Arab leaders will stress the Arab stance, calling for an immediate ceasefire, delivering humanitarian aid and ways of ending the dangerous deterioration that threatens the security of the region, the ministry said in a statement. Washington has maintained robust military and political support for Israel while calling on its ally to take steps to avoid civilian deaths and address Gaza's humanitarian crisis. Ambulance hit. Gaza health officials had said 15 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike on an ambulance on Friday evening that was part of a convoy carrying injured Palestinians at Gaza's biggest hospital, Al-Shifa. Israel's military said it had hit an ambulance being used by a Hamas terrorist cell and killed a number of Hamas fighters. The Palestinian Health Ministry challenged Israel to provide proof that the ambulance was carrying militants. Israel said it would release more information. It has accused Hamas of concealing command centers and tunnel entrances in Al-Shifa, something Hamas and the hospital denies. Gaza's living conditions, already dire before the fighting, have deteriorated further. Food is scarce, residents have resorted to drinking salty water, medical sources are collapsing. Israel says no pause unless hostages are freed. Hamas has prepared for a protracted war in Gaza and believes it can hold up Israel's advance long enough to force a ceasefire. Two sources close to the organization's leadership said. They said it also seeks concessions like the release of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for Israeli hostages, a senior Biden administration official said on Friday. The US had indirect engagement aimed at freeing the hostages. Foreign nationals have been leaving Gaza, but the official said Hamas initially conditioned the release of foreigners of wounded Palestinians being able to exit as well. But one-third of the Palestinians on the list turned out to be Hamas members. Hamas official Izzat el-Rashik on Saturday urged Arab leaders and people to pressure Israel and the United States by cutting diplomatic ties, expelling ambassadors, and leveraging oil and economic interests to support the Gaza Strip's people. The United States has dismissed growing international calls for a ceasefire, but has sought to persuade Israel to accept localized pauses, an idea rejected by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after he met Blinken on Friday. President ECP agree on holding elections on February 8th. President Arif Alvi and the Election Commission of Pakistan ECP on Thursday reached an agreement on holding general elections on February 8th. The agreement was reached after a meeting was held on the directives of the Supreme Court, SC, which had directed the electoral watchdog to confer with the president on the poll date. Subsequently, the ECP had sprung into action and a delegation headed by Chief Election Commissioner CEC Sikandar Sultan Raja met with the president at the Aiwan Aisadar in Islamabad after the meeting wrapped up. It emerged that CEC Raja had written a letter to the president, a copy of which is available with dawn.com, proposing February 11th as the date for general elections. In the meeting, the date for holding the next general elections was discussed. The statement said, adding that the president also listened to the progress made by the ECP regarding the limitation of constituencies. After a detailed discussion, the meeting unanimously agreed to hold general elections in the country on February 8, 2024, the statement said. Minutes later, the ECP also released a statement reiterating that the meeting had unanimously decided on holding general elections on February 8th. China eyeing new heights at Paris Olympics through winter training. China achieved their targets at the Hangzhou Asian Games and will strive to reach new heights at next year's Paris Olympic Games through this year's winter training, a high-ranking sports official said here on Friday. Gayu Zidan, the director of China's General Administration of Sport, told the meeting that Chinese athletes had showed great competitiveness and sportsmanship at the Olympics, ASEAN, and many other international sporting events, inspiring many people to forge ahead. With less than 9 months until the opening of the Paris Olympics, the winter training this year has taken as an important period for athletes to improve ahead of the Games. The winter training should be carried out with the highest standards and the strictest requirements to further enhance athletes' capabilities and demonstrate the strength of China's youth, said Gao. During winter training, it is necessary to comprehensively analyze the competitive situations at the Olympics, reinforce basic skills, and improve physical fitness. A detailed and science-based training plan is vital for athletes. On doping control, Gao stressed that China will continue to follow a policy of zero tolerance to ensure a clean sport. Pakistan defeat New Zealand by 21 runs in rain-hit World Cup clash. Swashbuckling opener Fakhar Zaman cracked a blistering century to save Pakistan from World Cup elimination in a rain-affected and dramatic 21-run victory over New Zealand at Bengaluru on Saturday. The 34-year-old left-hander smashed 11 sixes and 8 boundaries in his unbeaten 81-ball 126 as rain forced a premature end to the match with Pakistan 200-1 after 25.3 overs, chasing a revised Duckworth-Lewis Stern target of 342 in 41 overs. Rachin Ravindra hit his third century of the tournament, while Kane Williamson scored 95 to help New Zealand pile up 401-6 in their 50 overs, set a mammoth 402-run target initially. Zaman lifted Pakistan to 160-1 after 21.3 overs before a 90-minute stoppage due to rain led to a revised target for Pakistan after the resumption. Zaman kept up the tempo, hitting 3 sixes off spinnerish Sodhi's 25th over as Pakistan went past the 200 mark. Pakistan had needed to overhaul the original target of 402 in 35.3 overs if they were to get beyond New Zealand's better net run rate, which could prove crucial in the battle for semi-final spot. However, Abdullah Shafiq fell for 4 in the second over. Shaman and skipper Baba Azam, 66, added 194 for the unbroken second wicket stand. Zaman took the attack to the New Zealand bowlers, smashing 4 sixes and as many boundaries in his 39-ball 50. He completed his 11th ODI 100 and first in the World Cup, with a 6 and a single off Mitchell Santner. And that's all the news roundup for me. Thank you. Goodbye.